The brain thrives on patterns, and when you build this pattern consistently, you develop a reliable decision-making process. This discipline also helps you resist distractions that steal time and energy. In a world full of constant stimuli, thinking before acting allows you to maintain focus. It prevents impulsive reactions that often derail progress. When you cultivate this habit, you notice how your actions become more purposeful and your days more productive. You reclaim control over your attention and use it where it counts. Another powerful benefit of thinking before every choice is emotional regulation. Often impulsive decisions come from reacting to strong emotions, anger, fear, excitement. By inserting a moment of thought, you create space to observe your feelings without being driven by them. This space helps you respond thoughtfully rather than react destructively. Over time, you build emotional resilience, which is a cornerstone of discipline. Discipline through thoughtful decision-making requires patience and persistence. There will be times when you slip back into old habits of instant reaction. This is natural and expected. The key is not to judge yourself harshly, but to return to the practice with kindness and determination. Every time you pause to think, you reinforce the habit and deepen your self-control. Gradually, this becomes second nature. Journaling can be a powerful tool to strengthen this discipline. At the end of each day, reflect on moments where you acted with intention versus moments where you reacted impulsively. Writing down what you learned from these experiences helps solidify your awareness. It also encourages accountability to yourself. This reflection turns abstract ideas into concrete lessons that guide future behavior. Building discipline is also about understanding that every choice shapes your identity. You are not just making decisions in isolation, you are constructing the person you become. Each thoughtful choice reinforces a version of yourself that values control, clarity, and purpose. Over time, these small acts define your character more than any single achievement. This awareness provides motivation to keep practicing, even when it feels challenging. It's important to recognize the power of environment in supporting discipline. Surround yourself with people and settings that encourage deliberate action rather than impulsivity. Remove or reduce temptations that make impulsive decisions easier. For example, if you want to avoid distractions, create spaces dedicated to focused work. If you want healthier habits, keep tempting junk food out of reach. Thoughtful choices extend beyond the moment. They include designing your world to help you succeed. Discipline is not about perfection, it's about commitment. Even when you fail to think before a choice, you can choose to get back on track. This cycle of effort, slip and return builds resilience and humility. It teaches you that discipline is a lifelong practice, not a one-time achievement. Accepting this truth frees you from the pressure of being perfect and invites steady growth. As discipline strengthens, decision fatigue lessens. When you think before every choice, you reduce wasted energy on regrets and corrections. Your mind becomes clearer and your actions more aligned with your goals. This creates a virtuous cycle where discipline feeds confidence, and confidence fuels further discipline. This feedback loop is essential for sustained personal growth and critical thinking. In moments of doubt, remind yourself that discipline begins with the willingness to pause. This willingness is a form of respect for your future self. It honors your dreams by preventing careless decisions that could derail your path. Each thoughtful choice is a step toward the life you want to live. This perspective transforms discipline from a chore into a meaningful commitment to your own excellence. The journey to build discipline by thinking before every choice will not always be easy. It requires conscious effort to interrupt ingrained habits. It demands courage to face discomfort and uncertainty, but the rewards are profound. You gain clarity in decision-making, control over impulses, and alignment with your highest values. These benefits ripple into every area of life: relationships, career, health, and self-esteem. In practical terms, build your discipline by creating simple reminders to pause. Use alarms, notes, or mental triggers to catch impulsive moments. Practice mindful breathing or counting to 3 before acting. These techniques create a buffer between stimulus and response. Over time, this buffer grows and the pause becomes instinctive. The power of this habit lies not in a single act but in consistent repetition. Ultimately, discipline through thoughtful choice is about mastery over yourself. It is a demonstration of inner strength that no external force can take away. You become the captain of your actions, the architect of your life. With each choice carefully considered, you carve out a path defined by purpose rather than chance. This is the essence of true freedom, the freedom that comes from self-control. This approach to discipline is not about limiting your spontaneity or joy. It is about ensuring that your spontaneous moments are aligned with your deeper goals. By choosing consciously, you make space for both creativity and responsibility. You live intentionally, not reactively. This balance is what allows you to grow steadily without burning out or losing direction. Building discipline through thinking before every choice empowers you to navigate complexity with confidence. It gives you the tools to face challenges calmly, to resist distractions, and to move forward even when motivation falters. This skill becomes a foundation for lifelong learning, resilience, and success. It transforms decision-making from a source of stress into a source of strength. The practice of pausing before acting trains the mind to become a clear observer rather than a reactive participant. This shift is essential for critical thinking because it allows you to analyze situations thoroughly and make informed judgments. Discipline and critical thinking are partners that reinforce each other. Together they create a mindset capable of navigating any situation with clarity and courage. In the end, building discipline by thinking before every choice is an act of self-respect and commitment to growth. It means choosing yourself in moments when it's easiest to give in to impulses. It means valuing the long term over the short term. It means living with intention every day. This habit may seem small at first, but its impact on your life will be profound and lasting. It is a powerful way to improve your critical thinking skills and transform your life. Chapter 9. Expand your mind by learning something uncomfortable daily. Growth rarely happens in comfort zones. When your mind is stretched beyond familiar boundaries, that's when real expansion occurs. Learning something uncomfortable each day is a powerful way to keep your thinking sharp and your perspective fresh. It pushes you into new territories of understanding, even if it feels awkward or challenging at first. This daily commitment to discomfort acts like a gym for your brain, training it to adapt, question, and grow without shrinking back. The instinct to avoid discomfort is natural. We prefer what feels safe, known, and easy. Yet, staying within these boundaries limits our ability to see things differently or solve complex problems. When you deliberately seek out ideas or skills that unsettle your usual way of thinking, you open doors to new possibilities. The discomfort you experience signals that your mind is stretching, making room for deeper insight and stronger resilience. This daily practice doesn't have to be monumental. It could be as simple as reading an article that challenges your beliefs, exploring a topic you know little about, or trying a new skill that feels unfamiliar. The key is consistency and willingness to face the unease without shutting down or retreating. Over time, this builds a habit of curiosity that refuses to settle for easy answers and surface-level knowledge. Learning something uncomfortable daily also trains your brain to tolerate uncertainty. Many people avoid complexity because it creates confusion or discomfort, but embracing uncertainty is essential for critical thinking. When you accept that not all answers are clear or immediate, you develop patience and a deeper capacity to explore. This mindset turns confusion from a roadblock into a stepping stone for discovery. When you push yourself to engage with uncomfortable ideas, you also expose blind spots in your thinking. These blind spots are areas where biases, assumptions, or gaps in knowledge hide. Without confronting discomfort, these remain invisible and continue to limit your growth. But when you challenge yourself regularly, you start to see these weaknesses clearly. This awareness is the first step to overcoming them. Expanding your mind daily through discomfort also builds mental flexibility. The ability to adapt your thinking to new information or perspectives is vital in a world that constantly changes. If your mind stays rigid, you risk becoming outdated or stuck in ineffective habits. By contrast, embracing discomfort teaches you to pivot, reconsider, and refine your ideas. This adaptability is a hallmark of intelligence and wisdom. Another benefit of this practice is increased confidence in handling challenges. The more you expose yourself to unfamiliar or difficult concepts, the less intimidating they become. What once seemed confusing or overwhelming gradually becomes manageable. This confidence spills over into other areas of life, allowing you to tackle problems with a calm and open mindset. This process is not about forcing yourself to like every uncomfortable idea or agree with it. Rather, it's about developing the courage to face what you might resist or avoid. It means being willing to listen without immediate judgment and to question your own reactions. This openness deepens your understanding and strengthens your ability to engage constructively with diverse perspectives. The discomfort of learning something new can sometimes trigger frustration or self-doubt. This is natural. When you encounter complexity, it's easy to feel overwhelmed or question your abilities. The difference lies in your response. Instead of giving up, remind yourself that discomfort is a signal of growth. Persist through these moments, knowing that the struggle will lead to greater clarity and strength. To sustain this habit, make learning uncomfortable daily a part of your routine. Set aside time each day for reading, listening, or practicing something that challenges your current knowledge or skills. Treat this time as an investment in your intellectual health. Just as physical exercise requires regular effort, so does mental expansion. This consistency makes discomfort familiar and less intimidating over time. Seek out sources that are reputable but diverse in viewpoint. Exposure to a variety of ideas, even those you disagree with, enriches your thinking. When you engage respectfully with contrasting opinions, you sharpen your reasoning and gain empathy. This broader perspective reduces the risk of becoming trapped in echo chambers that reinforce existing beliefs without challenge. Incorporate reflection as part of this daily learning. After engaging with something uncomfortable, take a moment to consider what it revealed about your own mindset. Did it expose an assumption you hadn't noticed? Did it raise questions you hadn't considered before? Reflection deepens the learning process and connects new insights to your existing knowledge. Sharing what you learn with others can also enhance this growth. Conversations that explore difficult ideas create opportunities for feedback and further insight. They test your understanding and force you to articulate your thoughts clearly. This social aspect of learning turns discomfort into dialogue, building not only your mind but your relationships. Remember, expanding your mind is a lifelong journey, not a destination. There will always be new ideas to grapple with and new skills to acquire. Accepting this keeps your curiosity alive and prevents stagnation. The willingness to face discomfort daily means you are constantly evolving, staying sharp and open to the richness life offers. Ultimately, learning something uncomfortable every day empowers you to become a thinker who is not easily swayed by comfort or convenience. It makes you resilient to the noise of quick judgments and shallow opinions. You develop a mind that seeks truth over ease and values depth over simplicity. This strength transforms the way you approach problems, decisions, and interactions. As your mind expands, you notice a growing tolerance for ambiguity and complexity. You no longer need every answer immediately, or expect things to fit neatly into familiar categories. This acceptance opens the door to creativity and innovation. You begin to see connections and possibilities that others might miss, because they cling too tightly to what they already know. This practice also builds humility. When you regularly encounter ideas that challenge your understanding, you recognize the limits of your knowledge. This humility is not weakness, it is the foundation of wisdom. It motivates continuous learning and guards against arrogance. With humility, your mind remains open and your growth remains vibrant. Incorporating discomfort into your learning sharpens not only your intellect but also your character. It trains patience, courage, openness, and resilience. These qualities serve you in every aspect of life, from personal relationships to professional challenges. They give you the strength to face uncertainty with grace and the confidence to keep moving forward. The power of expanding your mind daily through discomfort lies in the transformation that happens quietly over time. You become someone who does not shy away from hard questions or difficult truths. Instead, you approach them with curiosity and determination. This mindset change is subtle but profound, setting you apart as a thinker capable of navigating complexity with clarity and courage. In moments when discomfort feels too much, remind yourself why you started. Each uncomfortable lesson is a brick in the foundation of your wisdom and resilience. This perspective helps you embrace the challenge rather than resist it. You grow not despite discomfort, but because of it. As you continue this practice, you build a mental landscape rich with diverse ideas and deeper understanding. This landscape becomes a wellspring of creativity, insight, and strength. It equips you to face the unknown with confidence and to solve problems with greater skill. Expanding your mind by learning something uncomfortable daily is one of the most powerful commitments you can make for a lifetime of growth and fulfillment. Chapter 10. Practice self-awareness by reviewing your daily thinking habits. Self-awareness is the foundation upon which critical thinking is built. To improve the quality of your thoughts, you must first understand how you think every day. This begins with a deliberate practice of reviewing your mental habits, noticing patterns, biases, and automatic reactions. Most people move through life on autopilot, unaware of how their thoughts shape their feelings and actions. By becoming vigilant observers of your own mind, you gain power over it instead of remaining at its mercy. Every day presents a mirror reflecting your mental state. The questions you ask yourself, the assumptions you accept without question, and the judgments you make all form a complex web of thinking habits. These patterns often operate beneath conscious awareness, but dictate your decisions and emotional responses. To refine your mind, start by paying attention to these invisible processes. This is not an exercise in self-criticism, but a journey toward clarity and mastery. Begin your practice by setting aside a quiet moment, preferably at the end of the day. Reflect on the thoughts that dominated your mind. Which ones were constructive, leading you toward solutions and understanding? Which ones trapped you in doubt, fear, or distraction? Notice how your thoughts influenced your mood and actions. This reflection is the seed of self-awareness, gradually illuminating the dark corners of your mental landscape. When you review your thinking habits, look for recurring themes. Do you tend to jump to conclusions without sufficient evidence? Are there moments when your mind spirals into negativity or exaggeration? Identifying these tendencies allows you to intervene and change course. You become aware of mental shortcuts that may have served you in the past, but now limit your growth. This awareness opens the door to choosing new, healthier ways of thinking. An important aspect of this practice is recognizing cognitive biases, those invisible forces that twist your perception. Confirmation bias, for instance, leads you to favor information that supports your existing beliefs while ignoring contradictory evidence. By reviewing your daily thoughts, you catch when this bias sneaks in. Awareness of these patterns helps you pause and seek balanced perspectives, preventing narrow or distorted judgments. Self-awareness also shines light on emotional triggers within your thinking. Certain topics, situations, or people might provoke strong reactions that cloud your judgment. When you identify these triggers, you gain the ability to respond with intention rather than reflex. This shift transforms reactive thinking into thoughtful deliberation, strengthening your critical faculties and emotional resilience. Journaling is a powerful tool to deepen this self-review. Writing down your thoughts daily clarifies what occupies your mind and reveals habits you might miss in fleeting moments. It's a way to externalize internal dialogue, making it easier to analyze objectively. Over time, patterns emerge that provide insight into how you interpret experiences and where you can improve your thinking process. As you engage in this daily mental audit, you begin to distinguish between useful thoughts and mental noise. Not all thoughts deserve your attention. Some are distractions rooted in anxiety or unhelpful narratives. Learning to filter these out is an essential skill. You develop a mental discipline that focuses on thoughts contributing to your goals, values, and clarity, rather than feeding confusion or doubt. The practice of reviewing your thinking is also about embracing honesty. It requires you to confront uncomfortable truths about your mind, your blind spots, errors, and limitations. This can be unsettling but is necessary for growth. A mind unwilling to face its flaws stagnates. In contrast, honest self-examination leads to continuous improvement and a more accurate understanding of yourself and the world. This habit cultivates a sense of ownership over your thoughts. Instead of being swept away by every passing idea or emotion, you learn to stand back and choose which mental paths to follow. This ownership increases mental freedom and reduces impulsivity. You begin to realize that your thoughts are tools, not tyrants, and you can wield them with intention. Another benefit is the sharpening of your decision-making. When you regularly analyze how you think, you become aware of patterns that either support or undermine good choices. This insight helps you build better strategies for weighing options and anticipating consequences. Over time, your judgment becomes more reliable, informed by self-knowledge rather than fleeting impulses. The process of self-awareness through reviewing daily thinking also enhances your emotional intelligence. Understanding how your thoughts connect to feelings allows you to manage emotions more effectively. You gain clarity about why certain situations provoke stress, anger, or doubt. This clarity gives you the power to transform emotional turmoil into calm, constructive responses. This practice encourages patience. Change in thinking habits does not happen overnight. The mind resists unfamiliar territory, preferring the comfort of old patterns. But by consistently reviewing and reflecting, you chip away at these barriers. Small daily steps accumulate into lasting transformation, making your thinking sharper and more deliberate. To maintain this practice, develop a simple ritual. It could be a few minutes each evening to reflect silently, or a journal entry answering questions like, "What dominated my thoughts today? Were these thoughts helpful or harmful? How did my thinking influence my actions and feelings? What patterns did I notice?" This ritual anchors self-awareness into your daily routine, ensuring steady progress. Beyond personal reflection, consider inviting trusted feedback from others. Sometimes blind spots are clearer to those around us. Honest conversations about your thinking habits can reveal hidden biases or assumptions. This external perspective complements your internal review and accelerates growth. Self-awareness through reviewing your thinking is not about perfection, it's about progress and presence. It's a lifelong commitment to knowing yourself more deeply and guiding your mind toward clarity and wisdom. This discipline transforms mental clutter into coherent thought, impulsive reactions into considered responses, and confusion into insight. By practicing this daily habit, you cultivate a mental environment where clear, rational, and intentional thinking can flourish. You become less vulnerable to manipulation, less prone to error, and more capable of navigating complexity with calm and confidence. This clarity is the bedrock of effective critical thinking and the key to personal mastery. The benefits ripple beyond your inner world. Improved self-awareness influences your relationships, work, and decisions. When you understand your mental patterns, you communicate more clearly, resolve conflicts with greater empathy, and make choices aligned with your true values. Your presence becomes more grounded and authentic, inspiring trust and respect. This path requires courage and discipline. It asks you to pause regularly and look inward, sometimes confronting uncomfortable realities. Yet, the rewards are profound. The mind that is aware of itself is strong, adaptable, and wise. It is a mind prepared to face life's challenges with steadiness and clarity. Commit to this practice with patience and kindness toward yourself. Growth unfolds in layers, not leaps. Celebrate small insights and be gentle with setbacks. Over time, the habit of reviewing your daily thinking shapes you into a person who masters thoughts rather than being mastered by them. Through this continuous self-awareness, you build a mind that supports your highest potential. You become the architect of your thinking, designing it intentionally to serve your goals and values. This clarity of mind is not a gift, but a skill cultivated through consistent mindful practice. The journey to sharpen your critical thinking begins by understanding your own mental habits deeply. When you practice self-awareness by reviewing your daily thinking, you step into the role of a thoughtful observer and wise steward of your mind. This is the cornerstone of lasting personal growth and the pathway to a life lived with intention and insight. Chapter 11. Question authority by using logic over pressure. Questioning authority is a vital skill that separates thoughtful individuals from those who simply accept ideas because they come from a position of power. The essence of critical thinking lies not in blind obedience, but in the courage and clarity to examine claims, instructions, or rules regardless of their source. When pressure mounts to conform or comply, it becomes even more important to rely on logic and reason rather than emotional force or coercion. Many people feel intimidated by authority figures. This reaction is understandable. Society often trains us to respect hierarchy and follow orders without hesitation. Yet, respect does not mean surrendering your ability to think independently. True respect involves evaluating the validity and fairness of what is being presented, not just accepting it because of who is delivering it. When you engage with authority using your own reasoning, you build intellectual freedom and protect yourself from manipulation. At the core of questioning authority is the practice of detaching from pressure. Pressure can take many forms: social expectations, fear of repercussions, desire to fit in, or urgency created by those in charge. It's a force designed to limit reflection and override judgment. Learning to recognize when pressure is influencing your decisions allows you to pause and reassess the situation objectively. Instead of reacting immediately to commands or claims, create mental space to analyze the logic behind them. Ask yourself, does this instruction make sense? What evidence supports it? Are there any contradictions or inconsistencies? By focusing on facts and reasoning, you remove the emotional weight of pressure and approach the matter with clarity. It helps to remember that authority figures are human too, capable of errors, biases, and flawed reasoning. Position or title does not guarantee truth. Many historical and contemporary examples show how unquestioned authority has led to mistakes, injustice, and harm. Recognizing this fact empowers you to trust your intellect over mere status or force. Logic serves as a shield against undue influence. When you train yourself to think in terms of cause and effect, evidence, and consistent principles, you become immune to empty commands or manipulative rhetoric. This does not mean you reject authority wholesale, but that you engage with it critically, distinguishing valid guidance from baseless pressure. A practical way to question authority using logic is to ask clarifying questions. This approach shifts the dynamic from confrontation to inquiry. Instead of saying, "I don't accept this," try asking, "Can you explain the reasons behind this?" or "What evidence supports this decision?" Such questions encourage transparency and dialogue, allowing you to evaluate information more thoroughly. This habit also demonstrates confidence without disrespect. You show that your goal is understanding and truth, not rebellion. Often authority figures appreciate thoughtful engagement because it leads to better decisions and shared understanding. Your questions can reveal gaps or weaknesses in reasoning that might otherwise go unnoticed. It's important to develop emotional control in these moments. When confronted with pressure, the natural impulse might be to comply quickly or react defensively. Instead, practice remaining calm and centered. This emotional steadiness enhances your ability to think clearly and communicate effectively, even in challenging situations. Challenging authority logically also involves recognizing when to push back and when to accept. Not every directive or idea requires opposition. The key is distinguishing between unquestionable facts and areas where reasoning and evidence should guide your response. This discernment prevents needless conflict and fosters constructive interactions. Another layer of this skill is understanding the difference between authority and expertise. Authority relates to power or position, while expertise involves knowledge and experience. Questioning authority does not mean dismissing expertise. Rather, it means seeking evidence and logical consistency, regardless of who presents the information. Expertise backed by sound reasoning commands respect. Power without reason does not. Developing this mindset requires ongoing practice. Start with small situations where authority tries to influence you without clear justification. Use logic to evaluate the claim, ask questions, and make decisions based on your findings. Over time, this builds confidence and sharpens your ability to stand firm in the face of greater pressure. Technology and information overload today create new challenges in questioning authority. Many sources claim authority: news outlets, social media, experts, and institutions, but not all deserve unquestioning trust. Applying logic to assess the credibility and validity of information is more crucial than ever. This means checking facts, identifying bias, and comparing multiple perspectives before forming conclusions. In professional or personal settings, questioning authority logically can prevent costly mistakes. Decisions based solely on hierarchy or pressure often overlook critical details or alternative options. When you step back to analyze reasoning, you improve outcomes and protect yourself and others from harm. This skill also encourages independence. When you learn to question authority thoughtfully, you rely less on external validation and more on your own mental resources. This strengthens your judgment and self-trust, vital traits for navigating complexity and uncertainty. There is also a social dimension to questioning authority with logic. It contributes to healthier communities where ideas are debated openly and decisions are made transparently. This culture reduces abuses of power and promotes fairness and justice. Your individual practice feeds into a collective environment of accountability and respect for truth. It is worth noting that questioning authority does not mean disrespect or cynicism. It is an act of responsibility and courage. Respectful inquiry advances knowledge and integrity, while blind acceptance can lead to stagnation and injustice. The difference lies in your approach, grounded in logic, calmness, and a sincere desire to understand. As you cultivate this approach, you will notice a shift in how others respond to you. People recognize and respect those who think clearly and question respectfully. Your voice gains influence because it is rooted in reason and not reaction. This empowers you to lead by example and inspire critical thinking in others. In moments when pressure intensifies, remind yourself of the value of logical analysis. Even when others expect immediate compliance, your thoughtful response honors your autonomy and protects your integrity. This is not rebellion for its own sake, but a principled stand for clear thinking. To strengthen this habit, consider practicing mental exercises that sharpen logical reasoning. Puzzles, debates, and studying principles of sound argumentation build mental muscles. The more skilled you become at analyzing claims, the easier it is to question authority intelligently. Reflect on your past experiences where pressure influenced your decisions. Were there times you acted without enough scrutiny? What were the consequences? Learning from these moments fuels your commitment to questioning authority with logic rather than submission. Over time, this practice becomes second nature. You no longer feel overwhelmed by authority or pressured into compliance. Instead, you engage thoughtfully, balance respect with inquiry, and make decisions grounded in reason. This mindset is a cornerstone of mature critical thinking and personal empowerment. Ultimately, the goal is to free your mind from coercion and lead with clarity. Questioning authority, using logic, protects your freedom to think independently and ensures that your choices are wise and informed. It is a skill that serves you throughout life, allowing you to navigate power dynamics with confidence and integrity. By standing firm on the foundation of logic, you develop resilience against manipulation and build a life shaped by deliberate, reasoned decisions. This strength benefits your relationships, work, and overall sense of self. You become a thoughtful participant in the world, capable of both respect and discernment. This ongoing commitment to questioning authority is a path to intellectual freedom. It reminds you that power alone does not dictate truth. Your mind, equipped with logic and calm inquiry, is your greatest tool for understanding and growth. When pressure arises, you answer not with blind compliance but with thoughtful challenge grounded in reason. Chapter 12. Strengthen your decisions by measuring risk and reward. Making strong decisions requires more than just intuition or impulse. It demands a clear understanding of what's at stake. Every choice we face carries both risks and rewards, and the skill lies in carefully weighing these factors before moving forward. This process isn't about avoiding risk altogether, but about measuring it wisely and balancing it against the potential benefits. When you begin to view decisions through the lens of risk and reward, you empower yourself to act with greater confidence and clarity. Instead of rushing into choices blindly, you pause to consider the possible outcomes, both positive and negative. This kind of thoughtful evaluation prevents costly mistakes and creates a foundation for consistent success. Risk can take many forms. It might mean financial loss, damage to relationships, wasted time, or even harm to your health or reputation. Rewards, on the other hand, represent the gains you hope to achieve: growth, satisfaction, profit, or improved well-being. Identifying these clearly is the first step toward making stronger decisions. A practical approach to measuring risk and reward starts with listing what you stand to lose and gain from a decision. Be specific. For example, if considering a new job opportunity, your risks might include a longer commute, unfamiliar work environment, or financial instability. The rewards might be higher income, new skills, or a more fulfilling role. Putting these factors side by side helps you visualize the balance. It's essential to be honest and realistic during this process. Overestimating rewards or minimizing risks can lead to poor choices. Similarly, excessive fear of risk can cause you to miss valuable opportunities. Strive for objectivity by seeking facts and evidence, and avoid letting emotions skew your assessment. Another important aspect is understanding your personal tolerance for risk. Some people feel comfortable with uncertainty and change, while others prefer stability and caution. Knowing where you fall on this spectrum guides how you interpret the risks involved. There is no universal right or wrong. It depends on your values and circumstances. When rewards significantly outweigh risks, and the risks are manageable or mitigatable, the decision becomes easier. If the risks are high but the rewards are equally substantial, a more detailed plan is needed to minimize potential downsides. This might include contingency strategies, incremental steps, or seeking expert advice. Incorporating time into your evaluation adds depth. Consider short-term versus long-term consequences. Sometimes, a decision might involve short-term discomfort, but lead to long-term gain. Other times, a quick reward might come with lasting negative effects. Being mindful of timelines helps you align choices with your broader goals. It also helps to think about the impact of your decisions on others. Risks and rewards don't exist in isolation. They often affect family, colleagues, or community. Factoring in these external effects deepens your understanding and can influence how you weigh different options. Developing this skill takes practice. Start with everyday decisions to build your ability to assess risk and reward quickly and accurately. For example, deciding how to spend your free time or whether to try a new activity can serve as useful exercises in balancing potential outcomes. Pay attention to past decisions and their results. Reflect on choices where you successfully balanced risk and reward, as well as those where you missed the mark. What lessons did you learn? How can you apply that knowledge to future situations? This reflection sharpens your judgment over time. Avoid paralysis by analysis. It's possible to get stuck trying to calculate every detail endlessly. At some point, a decision must be made based on the best information available. Accepting that uncertainty is part of life allows you to act decisively while still being thoughtful. A helpful mindset is to view decision-making as an ongoing process rather than a single moment. After deciding, observe the outcomes carefully and be ready to adjust your course if necessary. This flexibility reduces the fear of making a wrong choice because you know you can respond and learn. Using tools and frameworks can assist in this process. Techniques such as pros and cons lists, risk matrices, or decision trees help organize your thoughts and clarify complexities. These structured approaches bring discipline and consistency to how you evaluate options. Cultivating patience is crucial when measuring risk and reward. Rushed decisions often overlook important factors. Taking the time to gather relevant information, consult trusted sources, and weigh options thoroughly leads to stronger outcomes. Patience signals respect for the gravity of your choices. Another dimension is managing emotions. Fear, excitement, or pressure can cloud judgment. Developing emotional awareness helps you recognize when feelings influence your assessment unfairly. Techniques such as mindfulness or journaling support emotional clarity, ensuring decisions rest on balanced reasoning. Risk isn't inherently negative. It's a natural part of growth and progress. Without some willingness to accept risk, opportunities remain closed. The key is to engage with risk consciously, not recklessly, making calculated moves that align with your values and goals. Reward, too, deserves careful thought. Not all rewards are equal in significance. Some bring fleeting pleasure, while others contribute deeply to your sense of purpose and fulfillment. Clarifying what kind of rewards matter most to you focuses your decision-making toward meaningful outcomes. When facing complex decisions, breaking them into smaller parts can improve risk-reward analysis. Evaluate each component individually, then consider how they combine to shape the overall picture. This granular approach prevents overwhelm and promotes clearer insight. Seeking external perspectives adds valuable clarity. Trusted mentors, friends, or professionals can offer viewpoints you might miss. They may highlight risks you hadn't considered or point out rewards you overlooked. However, remember to maintain your own reasoning as the final guide. Learning to say no is an important outcome of mastering risk and reward evaluation. Not every opportunity is worth pursuing. Declining options that pose disproportionate risk or minimal reward preserves your energy and resources for better choices. Building discipline around this skill also means setting criteria for decisions in advance. When you establish what level of risk is acceptable and what rewards are worth pursuing, you create a framework that simplifies future choices. This reduces stress and speeds up your decision-making process. Life's unpredictability means no risk-reward analysis is perfect. Unforeseen factors will arise, but your goal is to prepare as well as possible and respond with agility. Confidence grows when you know you've thoughtfully considered the stakes, regardless of the outcome. In summary, strengthening your decisions through measuring risk and reward transforms how you approach challenges. It moves you from reactive to proactive, from uncertainty to informed action. This habit empowers you to make choices that are aligned with your vision and resilient against pitfalls. By consistently practicing this approach, you develop sharper judgment and greater trust in yourself. You learn to navigate complexities with calm assurance, turning potential threats into calculated opportunities. This balance is a cornerstone of wise decision-making and personal growth. Ultimately, the power to measure risk and reward thoughtfully shapes not only your decisions, but your entire life trajectory. It opens the door to purposeful progress and deeper satisfaction. The clearer you become in this process, the stronger your path forward becomes, steady, intentional, and filled with possibility. Chapter 13. Build stronger views by reading from multiple sources. To build stronger, more resilient views, it's crucial to expose yourself to a broad spectrum of ideas. Reading from multiple sources is not merely about gathering more information. It's about deepening your understanding and developing the ability to see an issue from various angles. This practice enriches your perspective and strengthens the foundation of your opinions. When you limit your reading to just one source or viewpoint, you risk falling into narrow thinking or confirmation bias. That happens when you only absorb information that supports what you already believe, reinforcing existing ideas without challenge. Over time, this can lead to rigid opinions that crumble when faced with opposing evidence. Diverse reading offers balance. Different authors approach subjects with unique backgrounds, biases, and priorities. By engaging with contrasting perspectives, you learn to identify nuances and complexities rather than accepting simplified narratives. This doesn't mean you must agree with everything you read, but it ensures you consider the full picture before forming conclusions. This process sharpens critical thinking. When confronted with conflicting ideas, you develop the skill to analyze the validity of arguments, check sources, and assess evidence. Instead of accepting claims at face value, you question motivations and logic. This habit protects you from misinformation and manipulative rhetoric. Reading broadly also increases your intellectual humility. Recognizing that no single source has all the answers encourages openness to change and growth. This humility creates space for learning and adaptability, qualities essential in a world that is constantly shifting. Building stronger views doesn't happen overnight. It requires intentional effort to seek out materials that challenge your comfort zone. If you tend to read only familiar authors or outlets, intentionally branch out. Explore works from different political leanings, cultures, or disciplines. Each new source adds layers to your understanding. For example, If you're trying to understand a complex social issue, reading only one newspaper or blog limits your knowledge. Including perspectives from academic research, international news, and voices from affected communities broadens your insight. This range of input allows you to see not just the surface details, but the underlying factors and implications. It's also valuable to compare contemporary sources with historical ones. Looking at how ideas have evolved over time helps you appreciate the context and progression behind current debates. It shows you what arguments have endured, which have shifted, and why. In the digital age, access to diverse sources is easier than ever. However, this convenience comes with challenges. Not every source is credible or well-informed. Distinguishing between trustworthy and unreliable information becomes a crucial skill. Check credentials, look for supporting data, and be wary of sensationalism or emotional appeals designed to sway rather than inform. Maintaining a balanced reading diet helps prevent intellectual fatigue or overwhelm. Instead of trying to consume everything at once, rotate through different types of sources regularly. This approach keeps your mind engaged and prevents tunnel vision. When you engage with multiple viewpoints, you also become better at articulating your own position. Understanding counter-arguments equips you to respond thoughtfully and confidently. It's easier to communicate your ideas when you've anticipated challenges and considered alternative reasoning. This breadth of knowledge fosters empathy as well. Seeing the world through different eyes helps you appreciate why others think differently. It softens judgment and builds bridges instead of walls, promoting dialogue over conflict. Strong views grounded in diverse reading are less likely to be swayed by fleeting trends or peer pressure. You develop a stable core of beliefs that can withstand scrutiny and change with new evidence, rather than breaking under pressure. It's important to cultivate curiosity in this process. Let the pursuit of knowledge be driven by genuine interest, not just the desire to confirm your opinions. Curiosity opens doors to unexpected insights and connections between ideas that might seem unrelated at first glance. Journaling or discussing what you read with others can deepen this practice. Writing forces you to organize your thoughts clearly, while conversations expose you to fresh interpretations. Both activities refine your thinking and reveal gaps in understanding. Avoid the trap of passive reading. Engage actively by questioning, summarizing, and reflecting on what you encounter. This turns reading from a passive intake of words into a dynamic exercise in reasoning and growth. Building stronger views is not about accumulating facts for debate, but developing wisdom through diverse knowledge. It's a journey from superficial understanding to profound insight, one that makes your perspectives richer, more flexible, and ultimately more reliable. In the end, reading widely strengthens your mental resilience. It equips you to face complexity with confidence and grace. Your opinions become tools for thoughtful engagement rather than rigid doctrines. This openness allows you to adapt and thrive in a world full of uncertainty and change. By committing to read from multiple sources, you empower yourself to become a lifelong learner, capable of navigating information overload with discernment and clarity. This habit transforms how you think, speak, and act, shaping not only your views but your very approach to life. Chapter 14. Raise your standards by expecting proof, not promises. Expecting proof instead of promises is one of the most powerful ways to raise your standards and protect yourself from disappointment. In a world full of empty assurances and vague commitments, holding firm to evidence becomes your anchor. It allows you to separate genuine intentions and capabilities from mere words that often fail to deliver. Too often, people rely on promises alone, trusting what is said without demanding tangible results. This habit leaves them vulnerable to unmet expectations, broken trust, and frustration. Words can sound convincing and hopeful, but without proof, they remain just that, words. Learning to ask for proof raises the bar not only for others but also for yourself, fostering a mindset rooted in accountability and clarity. Proof acts as a clear measure of reliability. When someone offers evidence to back their claims, it signals respect for your time and intelligence. It shows they value follow-through and are willing to be held accountable. This transparency builds trust in a way that promises never can, because it is rooted in reality, not possibility. Raising your standards by demanding proof encourages others to match your expectations. When people know you expect concrete outcomes, they are more likely to deliver. It shifts interactions from vague assurances to specific commitments backed by action. Over time, this practice cultivates environments where honesty and reliability are the norm. In relationships, expecting proof can prevent emotional harm caused by broken promises. If a loved one says they will change a habit or support you, asking for evidence of effort helps you avoid endless cycles of hope followed by disappointment. This doesn't mean mistrust, but rather a balanced approach that values actions over words. This principle applies to your personal goals as well. Setting standards for yourself means you require proof of progress, not just intentions. Instead of vague plans, focus on measurable steps and results. Tracking achievements keeps you honest and motivated, steering you away from wishful thinking toward concrete growth. Business and professional settings especially demand proof over promises. When dealing with contracts, partnerships or purchases, insisting on documented proof protects you from scams and poor decisions. Data, testimonials, certifications and trial results become your safeguards against empty claims. The discipline to expect proof sharpens your judgment. You learn to recognize when something is too good to be true, or when promises are designed to manipulate. This skill is invaluable in a media-saturated age, where misinformation and marketing hype are rampant. Being proof-oriented makes you less susceptible to hype and more grounded in facts. One of the challenges in this approach is balancing skepticism with openness. It's not about doubting everyone automatically, but about requiring evidence before fully committing trust or resources. This distinction preserves a healthy mindset that is cautious but fair. Raising your standards in this way leads to stronger boundaries. You stop tolerating vague explanations or empty words. Instead, you ask for what you deserve: clarity, honesty, and proof. This protects your emotional and mental energy by reducing unnecessary worry over unfulfilled promises. Cultivating this habit also builds your confidence. When you operate on proof, you base decisions on facts, which provides solid ground. You become less reactive to disappointment because your expectations are realistic and anchored in evidence. This steadiness supports better decision-making and emotional resilience. This mindset shift requires patience and persistence. Some people will resist providing proof because it requires effort or exposes weaknesses. Others may try to evade your requests or offer excuses. Staying firm without aggression or cynicism sends a clear message: your standards are non-negotiable. You can start by questioning promises gently. For example, if someone promises to help, ask how and when they plan to do it. If a product claims certain benefits, seek reviews, demonstrations or data. When setting goals, define clear milestones that prove progress. These small steps reinforce your commitment to proof over promises. Over time, expecting proof influences how others perceive you. You become known as someone reliable, thoughtful, and serious about quality. This reputation encourages better treatment and more meaningful connections. People bring their best when they know you value accountability. This approach can transform not only external interactions but your internal dialogue. Instead of promising yourself change, commit to proving it through action. Replace vague hopes with daily habits that show progress. Celebrate evidence of growth rather than just intentions. This clarity fosters real transformation. It's important to recognize proof comes in many forms. Sometimes it's data or documents. Other times, it's consistent behavior, testimonials or completed tasks. Learning to identify valid proof in context sharpens your discernment. You develop a nuanced understanding of what truly counts as evidence. By holding firm to proof, you protect yourself from manipulation. Those who rely solely on promises often do so because they lack substance. Demanding evidence exposes this emptiness and encourages honesty. This protects your interests and cultivates a healthier environment around you. The power of expecting proof reaches beyond individual interactions. It builds a culture of integrity and responsibility. When enough people raise their standards, societies become more transparent and accountable. This ripple effect elevates collective trust and cooperation. Expecting proof also enhances your peace of mind. When your expectations are based on reality, you reduce anxiety caused by uncertainty. You develop clearer judgments about whom and what to trust. This clarity leads to better choices and more fulfilling relationships. In practice, this means approaching promises with a thoughtful mindset rather than blind faith. Ask for timelines, evidence of preparation, or past examples of success. Encourage openness by expressing that proof helps build stronger, more honest connections. This invitation often leads to improved communication. This mindset shift requires humility too. Sometimes, you may realize that even your own promises need proof. Holding yourself accountable by demonstrating what you say builds your integrity. It's a commitment to living authentically and with honor. Ultimately, raising your standards by expecting proof empowers you. It's a way to protect your time, energy, and trust from being wasted. It encourages growth in yourself and those around you. It promotes a life built on substance rather than empty words. When you make proof the currency of your standards, you invite real progress and genuine relationships. You create a foundation of trust that is hard to shake. This foundation supports success, well-being, and deeper satisfaction in all areas of life. Chapter 15. Live with intention by choosing your thoughts daily. Every day, the mind offers a vast array of thoughts, some uplifting, some destructive, and many neutral. Living with intention means actively selecting which thoughts to nurture and which to dismiss. This conscious choice shapes your mindset, mood, and ultimately the quality of your life. It requires discipline and awareness, but the rewards are immense. Greater peace, focus, and purposeful action. Thoughts are not random events. They are seeds planted by your attention. When you allow negative or unproductive thoughts to dominate, they grow into limiting beliefs and patterns that hinder your growth. But when you intentionally choose thoughts aligned with your values and goals, you create a fertile ground for confidence, motivation, and resilience. Most people drift through their